For the second consecutive year, the Syracuse Orange are ACC champions. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thompson. He's Michael Tricarico, and he's Marco Socci. The two of them obviously called the game for WAER, as you found out last time. But with a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a rain delay, midway through that fourth quarter, forced the game to be played here due to those torrential downpours. This is a practice field. And on this practice field, an ACC champion was crowned. I mean, what an incredible day, Michael.
Yeah, Turf Field 1 will go down in Syracuse lore. I mean, you can't put into words what happened today. I mean, you start the game, Syracuse a 1-goal lead in the fourth quarter, rain hits, a 2-hour and 56-minute delay. You come across the street here to this turf field, Syracuse scores 5 straight goals and wins an ACC championship for the second straight year. First time that's happened in 6 years, by the way, in the ACC.
Which is just incredible. But, Marco, are you surprised that Syracuse got the job done?
Am I surprised that Syracuse got the job done? No. Am I surprised at how it happened? Extremely. I mean, if you told me, hey, look, you're going to end up calling the final few minutes of an ACC championship game at Turf Field 1, what are you talking about? But that's what happened. I mean, it was amazing. What I was surprised by was how, different the teams came out of the rain delay. I mean, Syracuse came out so good. I mean, they scored every goal here on this turf field. Duke didn't get anything going, and that really allowed them to win. But it was a great win for Syracuse and just a crazy, crazy day.
Marco, it seemed like that 3-hour break helped the attack. They came out more reinvigorated. They caught their energy, and they really caught Duke off guard.
They did. Syracuse was moving so much faster. Duke, I think, only had 2 shots that entire time, the last 7 minutes and 10 seconds of the game that were played here. But it was as if Syracuse had the ball the entire time. Ben Williams was beating Kyle Rowe at the faceoff, and Syracuse just, again, scoring easily. Sergio Salcido had a goal where nobody was there. Jordan Evans had a goal where nobody was there. So just a really easy time of it Syracuse had here down the stretch.
Well, another person who went through some hard work today, Evan Malloy, the tournament MVP. This guy wasn't even playing 2 months ago.
No, I mean, what Evan Malloy has been able to do in his short time as the starting goalie is amazing. I mean, 14 saves against North Carolina, 13 against Duke. I mean, Duke's a team that shooting percentage-wise one of the top in the nation, considering on 37% of their shots. 4 guys have a shooting percentage of 40% or better. Now, Duke was taking a lot of shots that might have been off net, but the reason for that is because Evan Malloy made some big saves early on. Those saves continued throughout the game. 13 saves against Duke. I mean, I know there were some Duke fans who were saying there's no way this is the same guy that played against us a couple weeks ago, and they're right. It's not the same guy. It's a totally different goalie, and Evan Malloy is the reason why Syracuse is ACC tournament champions for the second straight year, and Evan Malloy, well-deserved tournament MVP. We had a vote in this. We wrote it down. Marco put it down midway through the third quarter after an Evan Malloy save.
That's incredible. Hey, I have to agree. What a performance. And honestly, he should be the MVP of Syracuse this season. He really turned this around, Marco.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Now this team wins the ACC championship. You're going ahead into the NCAA tournament. Of course, they have that game against Colgate next Saturday. But you're full steam ahead. You look like one of the favorites now to win the whole thing, whereas just a month ago it was like, is Syracuse even going to make the tournament? So Evan Malloy deserves everything that he's gotten, and even more. Again, you're right. He's the MVP of this season for Syracuse. He's really turned it around.
How do you think Syracuse will perform in the NCAA tournament?
It honestly depends on who they get, but I'd have to think that if they continue going this way, they should be, looking at a Final Four. I hate to say it because you never know what happens in lacrosse. Just like last year, you would have thought they were shoo-in for the national title, and then they lose to Johns Hopkins in the quarters. But this team, the way they played today and the way they played on Friday against North Carolina, if they're in the Final Four, I'm not going to be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but Michael, it just seems like there's something different about this Syracuse team. Usually past teams rely on that talent, but there is something different about the personality on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's despite having to replace 5 of 6 starters on the offensive end, you still have that senior leadership in a Dylan Donahue. Tim Barber's there. You have other guys like Derek DeJoe and Sergio Salcido stepping up. I mean, then you got the younger guys like a Nate Solomon or a new guy like Nick Paroli who was injured but is back, and now John Desko Tricarico can do so much more with that offense. And one of the great things about the Syracuse team now is that they can probably, with this win, avoid playing Notre Dame or Denver until the Final Four, because Notre Dame and Denver are going to be high enough seeds where they're playing in Columbus. And Syracuse, with this win, I think cements a spot in Providence, which is a closer location than Columbus would be. So now you're playing, Yale or Brown maybe in a quarterfinal game, possibly Maryland. They're a borderline team that might go to Columbus but could go to Providence. Out of those, obviously, Maryland's probably the toughest team. Brown's still a dangerous team, but Notre Dame's the team that beat you by 10, and Denver, as always, is one of the favorites for another national title.
Either way, hopes are very high in Syracuse after yet another conference title. And that wraps up a very long day from Kennesaw, Georgia. He's Marco Socci, he's Michael Tricarico, and I'm Chris Thompson. Have a good night.